This is a really quick update on February 6th, 2026. Just want to go over my current kind of status with the weight loss and training. Um, I'm down from the beginning between 10 and 15 pounds. Let's see. Today I went up a little bit, but I believe it had more to do with the fact that yesterday morning I had a really hard wrestling practice and then worked, and then I had another wrestling practice. So I was just chugging water, so I think it's just water weights, but I went up like a pound or something, 2 pounds, pound and a half since yesterday. But I'm down right around 300, and I started at 313 on January 2nd, 2026. So, over 30 days. I don't really have an end goal yet. I'm just kind of more trying to get my between that 10 and 15% body fat, and I have no idea what that is. I hope like 220 to 240 or something, but we have no idea. We being me, no idea. That's how the weight loss is going. I'm not really having any of those cravings, like those killer cravings. And I know that's very common with people doing weight loss. Is they're in such a deficit that they're just like thinking about food all the time. For me, it's almost more like a utility. If I'm not tracking my calories, I will eat 10,000 calories, no problem. But if I am tracking my calories, it's just I don't have any like emotional attachment to the food. So if it's untracked, I'm going to gain a shitload of weight. But if it is tracked, I'm able to slowly lose, and I don't really get that many cravings. One thing that does help too is since January I was at 2,700 calories. I feel like I plateaued a tiny bit, and then I cut 100 calories, so I'm at 2,600 now. The other reason I did that is 2,700 was on the higher end of what I was recommended to eat to lose weight, but I didn't want to do that whole thing where people like start a diet and they're just automatic, like I'm going to lock in and do 7 days a week. So I wanted to be a little more reasonable. So I hit a plateau. I can tell you kind of roughly when if you want. Let's just say end of January I started hitting a plateau, because from January 16th to January 26th I was about the same weight, maybe half a pound down. So at that point I started saying, okay, this is some sort of a plateau. I am at the higher end of calories. Let's cut back 100 instead of just trying to push harder. And it hasn't been that hard after that. It is slower, and that's a hard thing for me, is you really want to drop a pound a day, like in your head. You want to be like, I was 300 yesterday, I want to be 299 now, the next day. But that's not really maintainable at all. So seeing it drop down so slowly, at first it's kind of a real pain, to be like, man, I want to get down to that goal weight. I don't want to go slow. But I rocketed down before and then promptly went back up. So I'm trying to do it slower in the right way. Injuries have been really hard for me due to I coach college wrestlers, so I'm rolling with them. I'm sparring with them. I'm 31 now and they're 18, so they can like break their arm and go like, wait, we're good. You know what I mean? But I bend over too quickly and I break both my ankles. Just yesterday, I went for I've done judo. So in the wrestling mat, we were drilling where they shoot in on you, you respond, right? So me and the other person I was going with were going 1 for 1. Even though it should have just been him going every time, we did 1 for 1 so he could also see the defense and work on how to respond. I went for a judo throw after he went towards my side to my back, and then when I kicked through, he tripped over the throw, and we both landed on my ankle. My ankle went like over 90 degrees, but more like a 180-degree turn, and then before snapping back, I walked to this. I rolled up and went onto my feet, and then I looked at the guy. I'm like, I'm gonna be right back. I told him, I'm like, that was close to breaking. Just you've done that enough times, like I knew it wasn't broken, but I was like, that was close to breaking. I went and I taped over my wrestling shoe, and then finished the practice. Like I said, worked all day, and then had to tape again for the second wrestling practice of the day, and then iced it when I got home, and then I worked out today on that hurt ankle. It's very swollen, but not purple. And what I did in the RP Hypertrophy app is just try to find movements that didn't utilize ankle bending that much, like people with moves that have your ankle kind of locked in place. For example, instead of standard high bar squats, I did like the wider stance squats where it's kind of more on your glutes. I did sumo stance squats for my glutes where you kind of have that wider stance with the toes out. For my quads, I did goblet squats, and I try to flare my toes out a little more for that. For my hamstrings, I did good mornings and Nordic curls. The good mornings, there's not a lot of ankle bend at all. For the Nordic curls, it hurt to kind of get in my little Nordic curl machine over there. But other than that, it wasn't a problem. I did stair calves, which sucked, but I don't have any other way to do calves that I know of with my current setup. Then everything else was upper body. And didn't require any ankle stuff at all. So trying to just not just be tough, because that doesn't really help you recover, but kind of trying to find a way to, okay, I am injured, what can I do here? So that's what I did. I just worked out and showered, and I got the camera. So some future stuff. I have a leg press in boxes upstairs from GMWD or something like that. I bought it straight from their website, and it's in boxes. So I hope to put that together this week. Then it's the Arete model, so you can hack squat, you can leg press, and then they have an attachment where you can also do calves. Like from the hack squat, you can put a little metal bar in there and do your calves as well. That was something I really wanted, was a way to progressively overload calves, because doing stair calves, like you can hold weights, but there's only so much weights you can like hold while balancing. And I wanted to be able to progressively overload my calves so that I can kind of just get more bigger, stronger calves instead of, because when I do bodyweight stair calves, I'm doing like 60 reps each set. Somewhere between 40 and 60 usually. And I know it kind of differs from the muscle groups, but that kind of, I know roughly the 6 to 30 range is the strongest for hypertrophy. So if I'm doing 60, I feel like I might be growing my muscles in my calves less effectively. The other thing I've been trying to focus on or learn about is newbie gains. I know when I'm in a deficit, my newbie gains will be slower than if I weren't in a deficit. But I've been reading that with extra body fat, that can kind of help supplement the calories that you would have been eating, so that you generally are getting similar gains than if you were not in a deficit. So that's something I kind of was looking into too, because it's my first time seriously lifting in my life, and I was a little concerned about that. And from everything I've read, like newbie gains are always going to be there. It's just how slow or fast you're really going to achieve them from with your training. Like, you don't miss it because you're in a deficit. It just might get postponed until you start going into a calorie surplus. So it's just kind of a dump of everything going on. Some things I'm thinking about is I don't feel like I'm doing true 3-2-1 RIR with some of the lifts. And what I mean by that is, if you look behind me, I have these really small arms to catch weights. And it was the only one. I have a weird rack. It was the only one that I could find online that would fit my rack. It's a 3x2 rack with 5/8 inch holes. So one of the comments showed a guy that dropped a weight on it and it broke, the weld snapped. So I feel like part of me is unwilling to get too close to true failure, knowing that the only safety bar I have is probably not that strong. Over time, I might need a new rack. It's really hard to have really low ceilings here. But having that leg press and hack squat combo will allow me to actually get closer to failure. In things like goblet squats, which are also a little bit weird on overloading, that I can get close to failure, and I'm not really worried about hurting myself. But when I'm doing like a high bar squat or something like that, definitely a concern. So I've also heard that other people that just start training, they're misjudging how close you are to failure. And that's something that, as I mature in my weightlifting, I'll definitely be able to judge better. So yeah, that's a dump of my thoughts. Staying on it. I'm on a leg focused mesocycle right now. Everything I've read about for longevity, which is something I'm really trying to focus on here, so I can live a long, happy life with my wife. A lot of it's like posterior chain and legs, like strength, that assists in like general longevity, survivability for like things like cancer, and just a lot of people die because they fall and they can't get up. So having strong legs now can definitely assist with most stuff you'll deal with in life. That's the hope, at least. So I'm really focusing on my lower body. I'm not really that focused, at least right now, on like getting a jacked upper body. I'm not really trying to impress anyone other than my wife. And for me, having really strong legs is kind of my goal right now to achieve what I feel is the long-term goal. Another thing, I just got some more plates. I tried a 400-pound deadlift off the floor a couple days ago, and it was like I lost my hearing like when I was doing it, because there was so much pressure. But I probably could have done like a set of like 6 or something, and I like filled the bar up pretty much. So I need to find a way to get cheap cast iron plates. I have 245s back there, but when you look at 45s, when you're looking, they're like more expensive than bumper plates now. So 400 came up really easy. I got really short legs too, so that probably helped. But that's something that I was super impressed with myself, which doesn't happen all that often. But being able to lift that amount of weight, I was really proud of that. And I definitely have more in the tank. I'm not with my ankle right now, but I feel like I could do 5. And I've only trained for like 2 months at this point. So I think I just have had strong legs my whole life, and that definitely helps. And my form's getting better. And I'm generally have stronger grips. But that was like a big milestone, and I'm probably going to try to hit 5 sooner than later. I think I'm like built for deadlifting just with my body style, more than things like bench or squats. But I want to get good at them all. I kind of want to aspire for that rogue 1,000 pound club at some point when I'm there. And I think having a 500 pound deadlift would definitely help get there. So that's something I'm definitely working on. Is it's all legs at this point, and then I touch the upper body just so I don't, so I can keep my upper body from getting weaker, right? Just so I can maintain that. So right now, current mesocycles 3 times a week, all leg focused. It kind of, I don't have a perfectly set schedule, but in my head, I kind of like know what days I'm going to do my workouts. I usually give myself at least 1 day to recover from everything. It changes between quads, hamstrings, and glutes each day, basically. So let's just say day 1's quads, day 2's hamstrings, day 3's glutes. Today was hamstrings. I did Nordic curls and good mornings. So yeah, things are looking good. I'm staying on it. I'm proud. It's been at like over, mid 30s on the diet, and I've worked out for longer than that. So I've definitely felt stronger when I'm training with people. I felt stronger. Oh, my cardio seemed to get better, and I haven't been doing that much cardio. There was about a month off of wrestling where I didn't do any wrestling with the college. I still did after work wrestling, but when I came back on Tuesday this week, which is the first time in like a month or month and a half, because they had like a winter break and they changed their schedule, but it's finally back to where I can go. We were doing live matches, like straight up live, and I didn't get tired, and like I usually get tired. So I have no idea why that would happen. There was one study I read about, I think it was kids in soccer, or like teenagers in soccer, someone in soccer, where they had multiple groups of people. One did strength training, one did like sport specific training, and another group did like free motion stuff, that like various things like that, like different styles. And from my vague memory, the kids that did the teens that did the strength training had like faster sprints and stuff like that. So maybe that's what happened to me. It could have been the time off, but we did a 21 20-second goes with 4-second breaks in between. So every go is live. You get a takedown in 20 seconds. The second that it's over, you both stand up and you're immediately going at it again. It takes like 3 or 4 seconds to stand up. So I didn't get tired at all. I could have done 15 minutes. So that's another thing that is super unexpected, because like I said, maybe it's the rest. Could have been any number of things. But the only major difference was the weight loss, which was 10-ish pounds, 10 to 15. So maybe that was a major factor, but also just strength training in general. So yeah, it's pretty much everything. I'm going to keep going. When the leg press is set up, I'm probably going to film how to put it together, because there's like 2 other videos currently about this leg press. And I also want to have that information for me if I ever have to take it apart and move it. Yeah, good stuff going ahead. I wish the progress was faster, but I also understand that this is the right way to do it. Food's been decent. I eat more calories when I work out to try to offset the deficit, so it's not like a super deficit. I'm making sure to eat protein first. Yeah.